Today we are talking about the foster care agency and choosing the right agency for your family. So my name is Kristen and I'm with Impressing Minds, and I created a checkpoint or an interview form for you to utilize when you're trying to decide which agency is the right agency for you. Different agencies have different goals. Different agencies have different policy and procedures. So how do you know which one? Usually, people may just choose the first one that they come into contact with, whether or not that's the first one they come into contact with because of someone referring them. And that would be okay, because you have someone who has a relationship with them already and it's been tested and tried and seems to be a good fit for them, so it's probably gonna satisfy you. But what if you don't know? So I created a list of 23 questions that you will ask. This can be found at my blog. I have a blog, Impressing Minds, and I just created it so that you would have something to go on when you're trying to choose which agency would be the best. So at the top, I have just some demographic information, like the contact person, their website, where are they located physically, when's the next interest meeting going to be, and then I go into some interview questions. You can do these easily on the phone. You can say, I'd like to talk to a worker because I'm interested in foster. I would like to have some of my questions answered, and they can put you into contact with someone who probably does this all the time, so they would be well prepared to answer your questions. Okay, the first question is, what are the main goals for the agency? Some agencies deal specifically with foster care, and they don't really deal much with adoption. Some deal with both. I recently ran into someone who only wanted to adopt, and they were told by an agency, if that was your main goal, to call someone else because that was not their purpose. Their purpose was to help foster families, and they were a foster care agency. So there's nothing wrong with that, but it just wouldn't fit your needs at that time, wouldn't fit your goals. The second question, explain how you match foster children with available families in your agency. So if you remember from the home study video that I did, you can choose the children of different ages. You can choose whether it's a boy or girl, what kind of issues, problems, concerns that they may have. You can choose those things. So how are they on their end matching you with your preferences? How do they do that? They can explain the process to you. And number 3, I put, does more than one worker assist with matching families and children? Is there more than one person in charge? Is there more than one person in charge of making this decision? That's important. You don't want one person deciding, this is Johnny and here's Johnny and see you later. You want a team of people to say, this family only wants children under 5. Oh, that's good. Okay, well, but they only want boys. We have 3 girls. Okay, next. And they would go through that process. And I think there is a computer program, actually, I would hope so, that would weed out, someone who only wanted teenagers if they had younger children, that sort of thing. But you don't want one person being responsible for that. I do know that my question number 4 deals with this. How is the matching process different in an emergency? And how would that look differently on their end? Now, you're going to get a call in the middle of the night saying, oh, we have little Johnny here for you. But then what happens the next day or the next week when you're thinking, I don't really want a boy because we only have girls. I don't know anything about boys. Whatever your reasons are very important to you, and so they should respect that from you. All right, number 5 says, what time frame can I expect for returning calls about questions that I may have? It's very important if you have a question or concern or problem with a child that they get back to you quickly. If they have to wait a week to get back with you when you're interested in adopting or you're interested in putting your family in the foster care process, they're not getting back to you quickly enough, you might not do it either once you have a child in your home and you have a question or concern or problem that comes up. So you really need to have good communication with your workers and with the facility. They need to have a good time frame for returning calls. Which leads us into question 6. What forms of communication does your agency use to communicate with foster parents? And this could be for potential adoptive parents also. What I'm looking for, what you should be looking for here is, are they going to use mail? Yes, probably for some things. Are they going to text you? Will you be able to freely text your worker at all hours? Are they freely available to you? If they're not, what's the process for a weekend? Are you going to still contact your worker, or is there an on-call worker? How does that process work? What forms of communication are available? I know we used email a lot. Like I would email weekly updates on the kids, and that way I had a record and I had communicated with my worker. So I used email a lot just for general communication, and then we would text back and forth for immediate communication questions. All right, number 7 is very important to me. How will the social workers interact with the child at the visits? Will he or she form a relationship? This is interesting because I had 2 different sibling groups. The first sibling group I had several sibling groups actually, but just to contrast the 2. One set of sibling groups, I would say, your worker, Lindsay, shout out to Lindsay because she was awesome. Lindsay's coming over, girls. And they were like, yay, Lindsay's coming. And then the next group of siblings, I would say, your social worker, I would say her by name, is coming, and they'd say, who? There, you see the difference. So you want to make sure that the social worker is going to have a good relationship with you. You know, you're able to freely talk to them. You feel comfortable about that agency and the representatives that they have when they choose their workers. And you want the children to feel comfortable with them also, because they're going to maybe tell them some things that aren't too positive all the time. You need to have a relationship with them, I think, and discuss things with them on their level. Which leads me to question 8. This is on the second page of the form. Will the child services worker have conversations with them on their level and update the children on the case progression? So sometimes that would be left to me during the other social worker. I would have to update the children, and I don't mind to do that. I feel perfectly comfortable and confident to do that, but at the same time, I don't feel like it's my job or my place or my position to do that. When the other social worker, the first one in this comparison and contrasting, she would come over and I would say, so do you want to talk to the girls? And she would say, yes, I want to talk to you all. And she would say, let's go out on the porch and talk for a little while. And she made them feel special and made them understand things that were going on in their lives that, was very negative. But because she had that relationship with them, she could tell them things that was negative in a very positive way, actually. I was very impressed with her. Number 9 is something that you're going to need to know. Will I be responsible for transportation of the children? Yes or no? That's just a very basic question, yes or no. And then I have it broken down even more. To where? What purpose? Why would I need to transport the children? To visits? To where are those visits? Are they 2 hours away? A reimbursement for gas. Will it be available for reimbursement? Will it be available? Number 10, what training is mandatory? So you get all that information. They can probably go on and on and on and tell you about training. And number 11, are the trainings in person or online? What other flexibility exists in training options? Number 12, how many continuing units or classes will I need each year? This varies by state. 13, do you have a handbook for the foster parents? You can ask them that, yes or no. And then, can I obtain one prior to signing on with you? So that way you maybe could get a little bit more information about their policy and procedures. Number 14, where can I find the handbook and the policy and procedure manual for the foster parent? So you want to dig a little deeper. So if they have a handbook, that's great. If they have a place where you can find the policy and procedures, that's good too. 15, how often will your child protective service worker visit our home? So probably once a month. And then will others visit? So like, would your supervisor visit, or would another social worker visit? Will the county DHHR still visit, the Department of Health and Human Services? So you get that information ahead of time. Number 16, do the visits with the foster children ever happen at school? Yes, they do. They have. They were. I did not like that at all because I felt like it left me out, like I wasn't an important part of the team. When they would meet with the child at school, I wasn't there to say, this has been going on and that's been going on and this behavior's changed and they're doing really well with their report card. Here's the report card, and let them see everything. I didn't get to do any of that, and I think they just did it to save time because at the local school they could see 50 kids in one day and be done. So I need to have an open and honest conversation. Is that the expectation or not? Number 17 says, how do you notify foster parents of an upcoming MDT or court date? Our agency would mail us those dates way in advance. So we would have to put that on our calendar, and then that would be it. So if you didn't know about it, if you didn't write it down on the calendar because you didn't remember about it, not because you didn't know about it, they would tell us. But if you didn't write it down at that time, there's no other texting or don't forget to come to the MDT meeting. Which leads into question 18. Will foster parents be welcomed to the MDT meetings and the court dates? They should be welcomed, and they should attend. I really, really wish that parents of foster kids would attend all of the MDT meetings just to raise the bar a little bit for foster parents. Like, we're part of the team. We have the best interest of the child, and we know them the best at that moment. We know what they had for breakfast and what they're going to have for dinner and what they're working on in school, for what they did for homework last night. We know them the best at this moment and this time in their life. And I think we should take the initiative and be prepared and be ready and be a valuable team member at the MDT meetings. 19 says, do you offer therapeutic services like counseling, therapy? Yes or no, yes or no. Where are they located? So some places will actually come to your home and do therapy there, which is so great because you're going to be going everywhere. You're going to be so busy. 20 asks the agency, do you place difficult to place children or ones that have recently come into foster care, or both? So some children have been placed in several homes and then they come to your home. So this agency may only specialize in difficult to place or ones that have gone from place to place before they come to your home. Number 21, what do I do if I'm having difficulty with my foster child? What am I supposed to do if I feel like I'm having an emergency, or they're having a breakdown, or they're having a really major issue? It's not so much with younger ones, especially if you are a parent already. You know, they throw a tantrum or whatever. I'm talking about, this is what I have this question here, like for an older child, maybe they're beyond your comfort level or beyond your comfort zone. What's the procedure for that? And then how does the process change after hours or on the weekend? So you need to know, who do I call? Is there a call schedule? What do I do? Number 22 and 23 are my favorite questions, so they would have to answer these. Number 22 says, what makes your agency unique? And then number 23, why should I choose your agency over another one? So I think those are two great questions to get the agency person on the phone, you know, just talking and discussing what makes their agency unique. Why should we choose them as our foster care agency? And I hope that you enjoyed listening to these questions. I have the form. I want you to get it. It's a free download. You don't even have to sign up. So I think it's so important to get an agency that makes your own values and belief systems, and you can read all about it at my website. It's impressingminds.com. There'll be a link in the bio description down below. Please like and subscribe for more videos on this, and let's change the face of foster care. Let's change a lot. Let's join arms and change the world when it comes to foster care by changing one child at a time. How about that?